We'll start today's class in a comfortable seated position. If your knees are a little bit elevated like mine, sometimes it helps to sit on a blanket or a bolster, cushion, block, anything, just to elevate your hips a little higher than your knees, and then that makes it a lot more pleasurable for your spine. So we just start to center in on the breath. Spine is nice and straight with the shoulders relaxed and down the back. Chin is parallel to the floor. You can bring the hands face down on the knees, which symbolizes grounding, or they can be facing upwards, which is a gesture of receiving, whatever feels good for you. And just start to close the eyes. So as you sit here, feel your sit bones grounded into the earth or your block or your bolster. Spine is straight. Start to lengthen the inhale and lengthen the exhale. Just bring your awareness to the breath as you center in and let go of what kind of day you've had. Maybe you're doing this in the morning and you've got a busy day ahead. Just let go of all of that and bring your awareness to the here and now, to the present, to the class, and to this time that you've allowed yourself to reconnect on the mat. So in today's class, we're going to get into the hips. Hips are known for storing emotions. And if you're going through a sort of tumultuous time, I know from my own experience, I find I get a real lot of tightness in my hips. So this is just something to be aware of. You've probably heard of the phrase, we hold our issues in our tissues. And I think this is really, really true. So maybe there's something on your mind or something that you're holding on to. Today might be the day where as you move through the class, you start to let go of these. Let go of what no longer serves you. We're now in the month of September, which is one of my favourite months. I love autumn. This is the time where the trees let go of their leaves. So maybe this is the time to let go of something as well in your life that doesn't serve you in any way. Just a few more breaths here. Deep inhales and exhales really help calm us. Tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. And then bring the palms together in front of the chest, thumbs touching the sternum. Take a deep inhale, deep exhale, and then open the eyes. So on an inhale, we lift the palms up to the sky, really lengthening out the waist, and exhale, release down. Inhale, hands come up, maybe look up. Exhale, bring the hands down. This time inhale, and as you exhale, turn over to the right side, rotating the mid to upper back. The left hand comes outside the right knee, the right hand is behind, maybe giving a little bit of support to the spine. Lengthening on the inhale and twisting on the exhale. So this twist comes from the mid to upper back. The lower back should be staying neutral. One more deep breath here. And then inhale, arms come up, and exhale over to the other side. So lengthening as you inhale, and then rotating as you exhale. You don't have to get into the deepest twist because we're only just warming up. Just bringing your awareness to anywhere in the body that feels tight. Sending the breath there. Letting go, releasing. And inhale, palms come up. Back to the center. And plant the right hand outside the right hip. Inhale the left arm up to the sky and lean over to the right. So really grounding into this left hip and stretching out of the waist. You can bend this right arm, if it feels better. Keeping the body facing forward. So you're not leaning back or leaning forward, you're on the side plane. Really getting into this left side body. Then inhale, come up and over to the other side. So planting this left hand, right arm lifts to the sky and then reach out of the waist. Coming over to this side, enjoying the stretch. Grounding that right hip. Using the breath. And then inhale back to center and arms come down. Do a couple of seated cat-cows. So as you exhale, you're going to round the spine, hold on to the knees, tuck in the pelvis. And as you inhale, coming forward, lifting the chest. So exhale, rounding. This is putting the back into flexion. And then as you inhale, coming forward into extension. Exhale, round. Inhale, forward. Just one more of these. Exhale, round. Inhale, forward. And then exhale. So if you're on a prop like I am, now's the time to remove it and put it to the side. And we'll come to hands and knees, so hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. I'm going to move the hand about one handprint in front, tuck the toes, and on an inhale, sit bones come up to the sky for a first downward facing dog. So really get your stable base here. So the hands are around shoulder width apart, grounding into the base of the knuckles. Triceps are rotated towards the ears with the upper back wide. Ears come between the biceps. Sit bones to the sky as you lengthen the spine. Feet are hip distance apart or whatever feels good for you. Keep the knees bent. And then maybe just start to walk the dog. So bending one knee and then the other. Being really mindful here as we're starting to open the hamstrings. Using the breath. As always, paying attention to the body and what it's telling us. And then come to settle the heels. And maybe you can just send them towards the earth, straightening the legs, sit bones to the sky. So if your knees are bent, that's fine. Do what feels good for your body. One more deep breath here. And then on an inhale, we're going to rock forward to plank. And hold here for 5 breaths. So shoulders above the wrists, front body is engaged, legs are active. Breathe here. 5 deep breaths. It's a really great pose. We're just waking up the body. Building up core strength, helping you feel really empowered and strong. And then inhale, sit bones come to the sky. And breathe. Inhale forward, back to plank. This time we'll bring the right knee to the right elbow. Release back to plank. Right knee down the center. Baby knee to nose. Back to plank. Right knee, left elbow. Back to 3-legged plank. Plant the foot. Downward facing dog. Second side. Roll forward to plank. Left knee, left elbow, 3-legged plank. Left knee to nose, 3-legged plank. Left knee, right elbow, 3-legged plank. Plant the foot, downward facing dog. Just bring the knees down, sit back to the heels and release the wrists. So a little bit of plank work, core work there. We'll need that a bit later. And then back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps up, low lunge. Knee over ankle, back leg straight and strong. Lengthen out of the waist. Plant this left hand underneath the left shoulder. Right arm comes up to the sky for an easy twist. So trying to keep the hips parallel to the floor. Twist from the back and breathe here. And exhale, hand comes down. Ground into this front heel and we'll come up, high lunge. Front ribs are in. Back leg straight and strong. Hand shoulder width apart and breathe here. Really grounding into this front heel. Feeling that stretch in the left psoas. And then palms come to the chest. Lift the left elbow. Reach around for this prayer twist. So again, keeping the hips parallel to the floor. Twist is coming from the back. Breathe here. You're on the back ball of the foot. Keeping that left leg nice and active, straight and strong. Using the core. And then rotate the body down towards the floor, come back up. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Take a vinyasa, inhale forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps up. Low lunge, lengthening out the waist, front knee over front ankle. Plant this right hand. Inhale, left arm to the sky for this easy twist. So again, trying to keep the hips parallel to the floor. Left arm reaches up. Breathe in here. Equal weight in both feet. And exhale, hand comes down. Inhale, high lunge. Shoulders are over hips, front ribs are in, bending into this front knee, back leg straight and strong. Fixed gazing point, breathe here. Feeling that stretch in the right psoas, just opening up the front of the hip here. And palms to the chest, right elbow lifts, and exhale, twisting from the waist, hook outside the left knee and breathe. This is too much. You can always bring the back knee down and do it from kneeling. So do whatever feels good for you. This is quite a difficult pose. It does restrict your breathing a little bit. So just do what feels right. And then exhale, come down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Downward dog, stay there or take a vinyasa. Back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps up between the hands. Back foot plants, heel to arch alignment. And inhale, we come up, warrior two. So really grounding into this front heel. Knees over the ankle. Make sure this back hip isn't hitched up. Arms to a T and breathe. Scooping this right cheek under. And then from here we'll come into warrior dog. So the hands will come down. I'll just shuffle over a bit. Keeping warrior two legs, but downward dog arms. Lean out of the waist. Hands plug just outside the left side of the mat. So this gets into this right hip a bit deeper. And breathe here. Then inhale, hands to waist, and come back up. Straighten the front leg. Moving into triangle. So arms out to a T. Ground into the big toe mound of the front foot. And exhale, the hand comes down to the shin. Maybe to a block. Maybe to the floor, maybe to the toe. Whatever feels good for you. Reach out of the waist. Gazing point can be the top hand. Shoulders are stacked and both sides of the waist are long. Right thigh is rotated outwards, grounding into the right big toe mound. The knife edge of the left foot is grounding into the floor with the arch active. Breathe here. There's a lot going on in this pose. It's one of these classic yoga poses. It's actually very intense, a lot of elements to it. And using the top hand, pull yourself up. Cartwheel down, downward facing dog, vinyasa. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Second side, inhale left leg to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps up, warrior two. Front knee over front ankle, shoulders stacked over hips. Breathe here. Really feel the engagement in both legs. Gazing point, the middle finger, the front hand is your drishti. Breathe here, standing strong like a warrior. And then we'll come into this warrior dog on this side. So keeping the legs where they are, hands come down outside the mat. Reaching out of the waist. Breathe in. So this really gets into the outer left hip. And bringing awareness back into the feet, hands come to the hips. We come back up to warrior two. Straighten this front leg. You can shorten the stance slightly. Triangle. So second side could mean a second story about how it feels in your body. Stacking the shoulders, grounding into the big toe mound of the left foot. Right leg is active, lengthening out of the waist. And breathe. So try not to dump all the weight into the left hand. Keep the core active. And then inhale, come back up, cartwheel down, down dog or vinyasa. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps up and comes to the outside of the right foot. So we move into lizard pose here, starting to get now a bit deeper into the hips. Bring the back knee down. and lengthen out of the waist. So I'm going to give you a few options here. This might be your lizard. If you've got blocks and the floor seems a bit far away, you can always bring your hands to the block. If you're very comfortable here, you may come down to the elbows, hugging this knee in towards the shoulder. You can also bring the elbows to a block. Breathe here. Try to keep weight in the right elbow. It does tend to become weightless in this position. If you want to go even deeper, you can tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. And just close the eyes and breathe. So I used to find this pose absolute purgatory. It was so difficult for me. It was so uncomfortable. The moment I got in it, I just wanted to get out. But over the years, I've continued to practice. My body is slowly opened. And I quite enjoy it. The longer we stay in these poses and simmer, the deeper we get into the tissues and the joint capsules. The more we let go and the more the body opens. Couple more breaths here. If you've got the knee lifted, bring the knee down. If you're on the elbows, come back up to the hands. Lean forward, bend the back leg, maybe reach around and grab the outer foot. So if this is out of your reach, remember you can always use a belt, or you can just visualize that you have hold of it. Sometimes it helps to bring the hips back to grab the foot and then descend into them. So this is twisted lizard, just getting really deeply into this left psoas now and into the right hip. Open in the right shoulder, breathe in here. I did a bit of a glute and thigh session yesterday using ankle weights, and my hips and my glutes feel really tight today. And then exhale, release. And you're going to shuffle this foot over to come into pigeon. So the right foot comes to the left side of the mat. Hips are facing forward. Tuck these back toes, walk them back, keeping these hips facing forward. So your foot might be quite near your groin. Lengthen out of the waist. And exhale, surrender down. So again, you can come to a block. You can bring the elbows down. You can bring the face down and just surrender here. So you can always do this on your back in figure 4 if your knees are sensitive, whatever feels good for you. Try and imagine you're pouring weight into the left hip. So this will help square the hips and get deeper into the right side. And then on an inhale, we'll slowly come up Tuck the back toes, ground into the hands, engage the core, lift up. Maybe stretch this right leg up. Return the foot down. Stay here in downward facing dog. Or take a vinyasa. And we'll all meet in dog. Second side, left leg lifts to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps through. We'll come into lizard on this side. So left knee above left ankle, bring this right knee down. Reach out of the way, so this might be your lizard. Remember, you can always bring the floor closer to you. If you want to go deeper, you can bring the elbows down to a block or to the floor. Make sure there's weight in that left elbow. Hug this left knee in towards the shoulder. Release the back foot. Breathe here. Again, if you want to take this to another level, you can tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. Focus in on the breath. I find it helps sometimes to close the eyes in these hip openers, shutting out one of the senses, practicing pratyahara. Really helps you turn inwards and acknowledge what's going on in your body and in your mind as well. Sometimes things come up for us when we're in these deep hip openers. And it gives us a chance to respond to them rather than react, using the breath, remaining calm. And when we respond to these challenges on the mat, we can take these lessons and use the same response to challenges in real life. So if you've got the knee lifted, release down. Come out the way we went in. If you're on the elbows, come back up to the hands. Take a breath. And then bend this back leg, ground into the right hand. Inhale the left arm back up and around. Remember, sometimes pushing the hips back allows you to grab the foot. You can always use a belt or your imagination. Whatever version you're in, start to settle. And then slowly release. Shuffle this left foot over and we'll come into pigeon or Ekapada Rajakapatasana, one-legged pigeon more accurately. Tuck these back toes and walk this right leg back. Click the left toes into the mat. Make sure the pelvis is facing forward. You can always put a blanket or something underneath your left cheek, and then come down to the elbows, forehead to the floor, and just settle here. Using nice deep breaths. Remember, no amount of forcing opens the body. The body opens with the breath. Surrendering, releasing, letting go of any expectations, letting go of any attachment to a perceived outcome that you think you should have in this pose. Remember, everybody's bodies are different. When you see some other practitioners who can get really deep into some of these poses, they've got different bodies to you. Everyone's got a different biography for their body. Everybody has different anatomies. So just be accepting of where you are and what it feels like to you, because that's all that matters. And on an inhale, we'll start to come up. So planting the hands underneath the shoulders, tucking those back toes, engage that core, use it to lift the leg up, stretch it back. Oh, that feels so good. And exhale, release. And then just bring the knees down, big toes together, and just sit back in a child's pose. Allow the belly to come between the thighs. Just breathe here for a couple of breaths, stretching out the lower back and the hips. And then the inhale will come up. So we've got a last little sequence to do, which is a fun little sequence. Take advantage of our open hips. So first of all, we'll come into a wide-legged forward fold. So sitting up on the sit bones. If you find this difficult, remember you can always prop the hips up on a blanket. Pressing the backs of the knees into the floor, keeping the feet active. Lengthen out of the waist and then exhale. So you're tipping forward from the hips here, from the hip joint rather than the upper back. And come forward. So again, blocks can come in handy here. You can just stay upright like this, maybe bring the elbows down to a block, maybe bring the elbows down to the floor. Legs are active, feet are active, breath is long, spine is long. Enjoy here. As you breathe, you may get a little bit deeper. If you don't get any deeper, that's fine. And inhale, slowly come up. And we'll bring this right leg in. Bring the left leg in. We'll come into baby cradle. So remember that the knee is a hinge and the hip is a ball and socket joint. So the bend isn't coming from the knee. The movement is coming from the outer hip. This might be your position. So keep the foot flexed to protect the knee. Maybe bring the elbows underneath the shin and bring the shin towards the chest, trying to keep the back as straight as possible. Or you can cradle the leg like a baby, putting the right foot into the crease of the elbow and holding the leg like a baby and rocking gently from side to side. So rocking from this hip joint, we're opening, closing the hip joint here. Breathing, being gentle with your body. Practicing ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence, not forcing. And then take this right foot, hands come around the foot and extend in front. And then bend the knee and bring it past the armpit. So just opening the hip a little bit more here. Maybe if it's available to you, you can bring your foot to your ear, like you're on a yogi phone. I'm not quite there yet, but moving back, pushing this knee back. And from here, we'll move into elephant trunk pose, which is Eka Pada Bhujasana, I think the name is. So this involves a little bit of arm work, a bit of core work, a bit of courage and self-belief. So bring this right knee over the right shoulder as much as you can. Now, you may not be able to get it on the shoulder. If you can get this above the elbow, it's likely you'll be able to do this pose. Then you're going to clamp this leg down, so gripping the outer arm, extend the left leg in front, hands plant underneath the shoulders, flex both feet. So you can stay here or maybe engage that core and lift up. Hold here for 5 breaths. Three, 4, 5. Come down. Release the leg, shake it out. So if you enjoyed that, you can do it again, or maybe come with me to an arm balance Ashtavakrasana, which is 8 angle pose. So we start in the same way. Right knee over this right shoulder, plant the hands, engage the core, lift up, and maybe cross this left leg over the right ankle, bend the arms, breathe here. And then come back up and let it all go. Second side. So left leg comes in, or right leg, sorry. Bring this right leg into baby cradle. Remember the ball and socket joint. This is a hinge. This might be your position, or you might be able to rock the baby here, moving from that hip, keeping the foot flexed to protect the knee. Trying to keep the back straight, using the breath. And then extending forward. This is into heron pose, but bringing the knee back. So just working this joint. So my right, or this side, is left to you, but my right hip is not as open as my left. And you'll find that you'll get this imbalance in the body. And that's completely normal. Maybe you can answer the phone. I know, nowhere near it. And then bring this leg over the shoulder as best you can. Clamp down, keeping this active. Extend the other one in front. Planting the hands underneath the shoulder, engaging the core. 5 breaths. Come down, let it all go. If you didn't get off the floor, don't worry. If you like, you can try Ashtavakrasana on the other side. So we start in the same position. Plant the hands, really gripping this. Lift this leg up. Cross the other one over the ankle. Lean into the arms. You need chaturanga arms. And breathe. And come out. Let it all go. Roll the legs in the joint. And we just come onto the back. Go into a bridge pose. Heels directly underneath the knees. Inhale. Lift the hips up to the sky. It feels so good to get into these hip flexors here. There's a bit of crunching forward. And those poses. Just lifting the hips up. Imagine the knees are going to the front of the mat. Really feeling this opening. Grounding into the shoulders, lifting the chest. And then exhale, bring the hips down. And we'll finish with a spinal twist. So extend the right leg on the floor, bring the left knee in, and exhale, bring this over to the right. Try and keep both shoulders on the floor, looking to the left. With the leg extended, you just get a little bit of a deeper twist. Deep breaths. Then inhale, come back. And we'll go over to the other side. So extend the left leg long, bring the right knee in. Exhale, right knee comes over. Right shoulder is planted on the floor, and breathe here. Feels so good. These reclined twists. Your breath should be returning to normal. After that last little sequence, which was involved a little bit of energy, core and arm strength. Then inhale back to center. Bring the knees in for one last little squeeze. And then release the legs one at a time for a well-earned Shavasana. Hopefully you feel nice and open in the hips here. Allow the backs of the hands to come to the floor. Shoulders are tucked down the back. Back of the neck is long with the chin slightly tucked. Close the windows of the eyes. Start to bring your attention inward to your inner landscape. Let go of how you're feeling about whether or not you achieved those poses. None of it matters. All that matters is the effort you put in and what you learned about yourself along the way. As you lay here in Shavasana, just revisit what we spoke about at the start of class, about letting go of things that no longer serve you, don't have a purpose anymore in your life. Just revisit whatever it was that you wanted to let go. And say internally and silently in your mind, you will let go of this thing. You don't need it anymore. It serves no purpose. This month is a time for renewal. As nature renews itself, we can have renewal in our lives as well. When we let go of things that we don't need, it leaves space for new experiences and new feelings to come into our lives. Things that will enhance us and make our lives better experiences. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Bring an awareness into the body, maybe full body stretch. And then bring one knee in at a time. Maybe give yourself a little hug. And then allow the knees and the body to fall over to your favorite side. Keeping the eyes still closed, come into fetal position. And then slowly push yourself up back into a comfortable seat. Maybe your cross-legged Sukhasana is more accessible than it was at the start of class. I know mine is after all that hip opening. Just keep the spine nice and straight, shoulders relaxed. Choose your hand position, maybe face down on the knees, maybe facing upwards. And bring the palms to the chest. Lift the palms to the third eye, connecting with your intuition. Bring the palms to the lips, spreading loving communication. And then bring your hands back to the heart, sending peace and good wishes to everybody and every being all around the world. Thank you for joining me today in class. I hope you enjoyed it. Your hips feel nice and open. You feel renewed, recharged, refreshed, ready to face this new season ahead of us. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. If you enjoyed that class, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel, share it with anybody that you think would like my classes, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.